Welcome to the Den. I'm Tobin, and in this video, I want to share with you a seasonal fragrance from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, and that's Kirimati. Put a picture of it right up there, and I want to share with you real briefly up front here. I'll put chapters so you can skip over this if you want. I'm going to share with you real briefly the inspiration of the name for this fragrance and a little bit of the history behind that. So Kirimati, that's how we pronounce it in English, is one of 33 islands in the Republic of Kiribati. And again, that's how we say it in English. On Kiribati, they speak a language known as Gilbertese. There's only 13 letters in their alphabet, and they do not have the letter S. TI makes the S sound. When you put a T and an I together in their alphabet, it makes the S sound. So Kiribati is not Kiribati, it's Kiribati. So it's the Republic of Kiribati. Very similar to how here in America we might say Mexico, but it's Mexico. People like Carlos might say Oregon, it's Oregon. So it's potato, right? But let's talk about the actual people that live there and what they call it and why I call this Christmas. And that's because, again, we talked about Kiribati, Kiribati. If you look at the word Kirimati, you have the K-R-I, then you have the T-I, and then the M-A-T. So we have Christmas. If you say that in this word, spelt the way that it is in its original language, Gilbertese, Kirimati is pronounced Christmas. So Kirimati Island is Christmas Island, not to be mistaken with the one that's near Australia, which really isn't too far. The Republic of Kiribati is south of Hawaii. It's almost right on the equator. And in fact, the Republic of Kiribati is the only country in the entire world that actually is in 4 different hemispheres. And that's because of the way that the islands, the 33 islands, line up. And it's really cool because there's 3 island chains. 16 of them are in the Gilbert Islands. And here's where it gets cool. 8 of them, and then this includes atolls. 8 of them are in the Phoenix chain. And then the rest are in the Line Islands. Out of the Line Islands, I think there's a total of 11 in the line. 3 of them are U.S. territories. Small country. I'm going to put some links in the description below for you to check out. 21 of the islands are uninhabited. Some of the most beautiful coral reefs in the world are there. I've talked about before about their coconut crab migrations, and it's on my bucket list and has been for a long time. I'd really love to, explore most of the Pacific Islands. So Kirimati is a very religious country, and it may not be the type of religion that you think, and that would be because of early Christian missionaries. The population is 50% Catholic, 40% Protestant, 9% Mormon, and 1% Baha'i, or Baha'i. Sorry if I mispronounced that. So now you likely know more about the Republic of Kiribati than you ever cared to know, and why I referred to this fragrance as Christmas, and why I will call it Christmas throughout the rest of the video, because that's how it's actually pronounced, and that's why, and actually on the photo here, I'll put up here, this is actually an outline of Christmas Island, done Douglas style, of course, with the reindeer, and then you have the 3 magi, and that's why we find frankincense and myrrh in here, because Kirimati is Christmas. The TI makes an S sound. Christmas. Wow! The more you know. Okay, let's get into this shave. Stop mucking around and get her done, son. See that hat? I was trying to show it off to you. Oh yeah, it's so cool. 50th anniversary of Pepio's Christmas tree farm. It's where we go and cut down trees. You don't care about that either, though. But I wanted to tell you I wanted to tell you, and now you know. I love this hat. I got it yesterday. Christmas. Today I'll be shaving with Christmas from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. So I'll be using my Christmas set soap, splash, and star jelly. I have my metaphor from Phoenix Artisan that I've flipped upside down. The top is down here and the bottom's up here. I put a couple extra buffer rings just because I didn't want the handle hitting the bottom of the plate wonky, and like that it's perfect. And I also have another buffer ring down here on the bottom. And why? Just because I thought about doing it once before and I didn't, and I thought, you know what, today we're doing everything upside down. Kirimati is Christmas, Christmas is Kirimati. I'm wearing a hat from a tree farm that I got yesterday, but that's another story for another day and something that you probably don't want to hear me ramble about. I'll be throwing a Bic Platinum first use into my metaphor. I'm going to be whipping it all up with a vintage handle, Everready 100. The knot is not vintage. The knot is a pure badger that has been thrown in there for good measure, and I freaking love it. It's a little bit of a scritch, but it's nice. It's so nice. Ready? Ready? Let's do it. Hope you all are having an absolutely fantastic holiday season. I have been. Yesterday, we went to Pepio's tree farm. Our oldest is 20, then we have an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old. Out of all those years, there's only been 2 years that we haven't taken our family up there to get a Christmas tree. And the 1 year was 2020, and it was closed, and we had to go to a different tree farm, and that one was called Northern Lights. And we really like the one that we go to because they have, well, just everything about it. You know, it's just got that family feel. It's not far from here. We just like it. And then grab a scoop. Thankfully, I got one right back here. And then there's another time we went to a tree lot, which nothing wrong with tree lots, but we like going and doing the family thing. It's a lot of fun cutting down your own tree. Put a couple of photos right there. The one that we cut down yesterday was a giant, got more soap than I need, was a giant noble. We love nobles, one of our favorites. I really like nobles, Frasers, Nordman, that's another dang good one, but nobles are definitely my favorite. Here in Oregon, you can get a permit to go out into the woods and cut your own down, and it's only like $20. But the problem is, finding the perfect tree, of course, isn't easy. More often than not, you're going to find trees like the Griswold Christmas tree, that big old thing that they brought home. And you haven't seen that movie, what the hell is wrong with you? That's what I thought. Crazy, crazy kids. So, you can get a tree in the woods, but you'll drive around looking for the perfect one forever. And a truck like mine, I have a Durango, Dodge Durango, and I get about 8 miles in the city, and I'm lucky to get right around 12 for an average highway. So by the time we drive, an hour up into the mountains, if we find one, relatively quickly, it would be an hour up there, and then, an hour back. We're talking, gravel roads and logging roads and stuff like that to get it. So really, you don't end up saving much money. We did pay $60 to cut down the Noble yesterday, but of course we got with it too also the experience of going up there. They have apple cider candy canes, the best cookies. I mean, the best chocolate chunk. Like, I think they're walnuts or something inside of it, macadamia nuts. But there's just there's an experience of going up there. And something that's nice about it too is that it only takes a couple of hours to go there, do the family thing, cut the tree down, and get back home. As to where if we go with the permit, it's a all-day thing. You get up early in the morning, you drive up into the mountains, you hike around, sometimes hike around a lot, and then there are the trips that you end up bringing home a tree that's, it's a nice tree, but it's just not ideal. And that's because, a lot of the trees that are ideal and easy to find have usually been cut down either, this season or the previous season. The tree that we brought home was a 14-year-old noble. Giant trunk on that thing. Oh man, it was a workout cutting it. I think it's actually the thickest trunk I ever brought home, and I knew it was just barely going to fit the tree stand as well, and it did. I had a little bit of room on each side, maybe half an inch, quarter of an inch, somewhere around there. She's a big one. Only about 7 feet tall, maybe close to 8 feet, but by the time I trimmed it up, put it in the tree stand, it's about 6 feet, 7 feet. It's a beautiful tree though. I love nobles. And here in Oregon, there's parts of the world that you have to do a fake tree just because finding trees really isn't easy, especially if you live in a place like, Texas or somewhere in the Midwest or other parts of the world. It's just one of the many blessings of living in the Pacific Northwest that trees are literally everywhere. And I know too, back east and in the Midwest, trees that cost $60 here at a tree, the tree lots are always more. Our $60 sounds like Luna's out there bouncing a ball. I'm home alone. I hear this boom, 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 boom. But if we would have bought my noble that we brought home yesterday at a tree farm or tree lot, at a tree lot, the tree lots that you see in grocery store parking lots. I'll put a picture of one right here. It would have been $80, $90, and that's part of, I didn't load my blade. That's part of what, you pay for, the ease of getting that tree. And of course too, you never know how long ago it was cut down. They always say, it's fresh, but their idea of fresh might be different than your idea of fresh. And my idea of fresh is I literally just cut it down. I mean, you don't get any fresher than the tree we brought home yesterday. But I've seen some prices of these trees at tree lots in the Midwest and other places, and those people are paying 2-3 times the amount of what we're paying here. And in that situation, I might, even me, an Oregonian who lives in Oregon, Carlos, I might be tempted to go with the fake tree, but living here in Oregon, I can never allow myself to do it. One reason is the fragrance. I love the smell of a fresh cut tree, especially a fir, a spruce, or even a pine. When I woke up this morning and went out into the hall, that smell of the tree just radiated. I got my water bowl down here for dipping my razor. I'm gonna bring it a little closer. But pause it real quick. I'm not home alone. My wife is home, and that's why the dog's making noise. So I was saying, the smell of that fresh tree is just can't be beat. And then also just the experience of going out into the woods every year. It's a tradition that the entire family has always looked forward to. And you just don't get that with grabbing a tree out of the garage and setting it up. Enough about my trees. Let's talk about the fragrance of Christmas from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. Definitely the most masculine holiday fragrance I've ever experienced. I have probably 15 total. Every note, I actually went last night, I was looking at it. There's 11 notes in it, and all 11 can be categorized as a masculine fragrance. It starts out with frankincense, followed by myrrh. It's followed up by West India bay rum, seaweed, oak wood, ambergris, benzoin, blue spruce, tobacco, labdanum, and lavender. seaweed and lavender, you know, but there's, if you look into it and we'll go through it, they really are definitely a masculine fragrance. Frankincense, just like myrrh, is a natural blend of essential oil and tree resins, both from a tree. In Africa. And you can classify frankincense as citrusy, earthy, woody, piney. Some people pick up balsamic notes out of it, and I can see where that's coming from because you kind of get a soothing, warm, and a little animalic going on there. Frankincense and myrrh are both two that I've had essential oils of. Then we get into myrrh. And myrrh, having problems here. Myrrh, again, of course, is woody. There's definitely a warm, woody, aromatic, pungent. Talked about this not too long ago. People say, or when I use the word pungent, I don't mean stinky. Pungent is a sharp, strong smell or taste. Bay rum, I know a lot of you are familiar with that. West Indian Bay. Real briefly for those who may not be, bay rum can be classified as sweet, spicy, woody, woody, robust, and masculine. And robust would again fall into the same kind of category as pungent, to where we're talking strong, rich. Next is seaweed. Seaweed, aromatic for sure. Salty, marine. Salt and marine, I think those are both very fair to say qualify as a masculine fragrance, and that plays, you know, into what I was saying with all these notes being masculine. After the seaweed, there's oak wood. Oak wood is a smooth, rich, again that would fall in line with the bold, or even you could, you know, apply pungent wood aroma. Now, I've never picked up on this, but what I've heard people say and what I've read is that some people, and maybe it's just because I never experienced enough of it, but some people say that oak wood essential oil smells like Scotch or malt whiskey. I don't think I've ever experienced Scotch a whole lot, especially not just straight up. Whiskeys, yes, but Jack Daniels, you know, nothing big. After the oak wood, we find ambergris, and you really don't get much more masculine than ambergris. Animalic, musk, sweet, earthy. Benzoin, another resin. It's from a group of trees known as styrax. A whole bunch of trees that fall under the category of styrax. Think along the lines of fir trees, pine trees, spruces. And it can most often be described as sweet, smooth, with a vanilla-ish type quality to it. Oh, CK6 is just so freaking fantastic. Blue spruce. Spruces, especially blue spruce, and like there's redwood, black spruce, or red spruce, black spruce. There's several different colors of spruce. Blue spruce is absolutely beautiful, and yes, it has a blue color to it. A bright, punchy, woody character to it. Definitely captures the. It's Christmassy. It definitely captures the spirit of the holiday, and that goes in line with what I was saying with the bringing home the noble fur yesterday. In fact, our daughter pointed out that it doesn't really feel like Christmas until we bring the tree home. And I agree. And part of it is the appearance, but also the smell. And it's just, oh man, there's nothing better than a noble. Oh, I love noble tobacco. Rich, masculine. Labdanum. Again, we go into animalic musk. It can be leathery. And woody. That's the other note that I wrote down. Definitely a masculine fragrance. And last but not least, I really think this helps round out the base, is lavender. And lavender, floral, woody. There's, of course, different types of lavender, but it can also be described as a soft, smoky note. So we take all this together. And how did I get myself? Right off the top with the aftershave, with the splash, the cologne, you get some citrusy notes going on, and that citrus is definitely coming from the frankincense. So one of the first things you'll smell when you open this thing up is a little bit of a citrus quality going on. And that is definitely from, how did I do that? This is a mild razor. Not easy though, talking and shaving. So anywho, we have that citrusy, and then you start going into more of the frankincense and the myrrh and that woodiness going on. And then the bay rum is so perfect with these wood notes. It really, really is. And so that bay quickly comes in behind the frankincense and behind the myrrh. And it's cool because at the same time, I don't really pick out like a salty marine note, of course, because again, this is like all the instruments in the orchestra playing together, making beautiful, sweet music. And so I don't really pick up any salty marine, but this, when you get into that bay note, it's got this extra oomph to it. Now, it's not like Atomic Age. I love Atomic Age. And I think it's that seaweed, and it's just phenomenal. The oak wood, and then we come into the ambergris and the benzoin. And so that oak wood is, maybe the oak wood is playing in with that salty marine and the bay rum, and it's kind of creating that different transition. And I think this is like where we're getting into a pivot point, is that bay rum, as we step down from the bay into the seaweed and into the oak wood. I think we're getting a pivot, a transition period right there. I forget what people usually call that, but I consider it like a pivot point, because you're going from, the top in one particular fragrance, and you're pivoting to the next stage, or to the transformation of the fragrance. And so as it pivots into the ambergris, which is super masculine, and the benzoin, which is masculine, sweet and smooth, but it's a masculine fragrance. It's a tree resin. And then, the blue spruce. And I think all that is just from the bay rum to the seaweed, to the oak wood, to the ambergris, to the benzoin, to the blue spruce. You're coming into this heart. And you guys, it's amazing, because you have like this opening of bay, but then somehow it transforms with that seaweed into the oak wood. And then the ambergris and that musk, that musk appeal that drives the ladies crazy, starts coming in, and it's amazing. And then it rounds out, with the richness of the tobacco and the animalic leathery notes of the labdanum, and then softened out with the lavender. Holiday fragrances don't get any more masculine than this. And again, this is, my wife and daughter don't care for very many bay rums. They're not super crazy about this one, but they do enjoy it. And that's saying a lot, because there's only a couple that they actually like. They don't like most of them. I love it. This year, I'm grabbing the EDP, considering the solid. Definitely going to grab a Dio. If you've never tried it, I do recommend grabbing the bare minimum a $1 sample. And just like the other holiday fragrances from PAA, while there's bay rum in it, and this could be classified as a bay rum, it's not your typical bay rum. First of all, there's no clove in any of their bay rums. So it's got that going on. But there's just so much more happening here than what meets the eye. This is one of those holiday fragrances, you know, like I love Keepsake Fruitcake and I Gingerbread Man, and there's so many others, including, you know, some of your peppermints and stuff, even from different artisans. But I don't know if I'd wear them to work or out with the guys. This is one, though, that you can wear all year round. You can wear it out with the guys. You can wear it to church, Christmas parties. It's amazing. It really is. And it's in a definite league of its own. There's not another holiday fragrance like it. I wish I would have grabbed it before last year. Oh, but I can't buy them all, not at once. So I gotta take my time picking them all up. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern? So damn good. I got a couple of bay leaves in mine. And over time, those bay leaves will add to the fragrance. Think like a tincture is how I've heard it best explained. I have the menthol-free Star Jelly. I love Star Jelly when it comes to post-shave feel. It's one of those things that really only has equals, and it's hard to find anything that's going to give you a better post-shave feel than Star Jelly. Sometimes I use it just by itself. Other times I use it after the splash. All really just depends on what kind of mood I'm in or what the fragrance is. I don't have Star Jelly with all of my fragrances, but the ones that I love, I do try to have all of them. In fact, when it comes to my Christmas fragrances, 8 of them, 8 or 9 that I have from PAA, there's only the one that I don't have the Star Jelly of yet, and that's I Gingerbread. That's another fun holiday fragrance, but again, it's one that's kind of not one that you can wear out with the guys, so you definitely wear it to Christmas parties and stuff like that. But this is a citrus forward because of the frankincense, woody, earthy, bay rum, masculine, fantastic holiday fragrance. There's nothing else like it. So masculine. Describe it in one word: masculine. Thank you all for being here. I hope you catch me and Andy on We Shave on Monday. Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to all the guests who are going to be joining me on We Shave. And next is Peter on the 10th. And then we have somebody. I'll put it right here, the calendar. And so I hope you all make it to those. And I thank you again for joining me. Seriously, at the very least, grab one of the dollar samples of Kirimati. You pay for shipping, I'll happily send you some. Thanks for watching. Did I say that? Y'all take care of yourself. Remember, it's the little big things. It's the holiday season. Keep it all in perspective. And until next time, take care.